Black Oni.
You're now listening to the Black Oni Podcast.
Welcome everybody to the Ebony and Ivory Podcast.
Extra Handsome Edition.
Extra Handsome Edition. Starring
Indeed.
yours truly, JBlaze06 and Sirius Sam. How you doing, man?
I'm doing. How about yourself, Will?
I'm so much doing.
Yeah.
This episode is called Streetest of Fighters. For obvious reasons. So, before we jump into anything, is there anything that you would like to advertise to our people at home? Anything you want to shout out?
When Dying Light comes out, expect to see a nice live stream of that.
Nice.
And I will do impressions on the fly based on your comments. So if you want to hear me do it in a certain voice, let's say you want to see Arnold kill zombies, I'd be more than happy to do a voice for it.
I think we need to do a duel Arnold kill zombies.
Oh, yeah?
Because it is multiplayer.
Oh, yeah, we could do that, yeah.
Yeah, we totally could.
Get down! No, you get down!
You must climb the fence now.
I'll climb after you, go!
And where can they see that live stream?
That will probably be when that ends up coming out.
I mean, like,
so early.
Where? What's your username for Twitch?
Oh, it's going to be on Twitch. It's going to be under my PlayStation ID, so it's going to be SeriousSam623. It's not going to be hard to find.
Yeah, the name will be underneath his name, so the name will be underneath his face. And
I'm assuming it's down below here.
Down below.
Okay. The dark below.
It is in black. So we're gonna jump.
I can make a wildly inappropriate comment about that right now.
I mean,
is that what you called it, Will? The dark below.
Sometimes I just call it he.
Oh. Like, hey, babe, you want to come over and see the dark below?
I'm gonna try that one. If they're a gamer, they might get the reference. If not, they're gonna be like, whoa.
If that works, I will give you like the biggest internet high five you've ever seen. Exactly. I will smack the crap out of my screen.
And the icebreaker is, what is your favorite fighting game of all time?
Ooh, I'm kind of torn, honestly, between Soul Calibur and then Marvel vs. Capcom. I mean, Will and I had a recent experience playing Soul Calibur 2 again, and it lit a fire in there deep inside. So, where's my Soul Calibur 6? I want that action. Somebody announce that, please.
I'm hoping that Soul Calibur 6 doesn't take one of the mechanics from the last one, which was in order to do the guard break, not the guard break, the parry, you have to use up some of your meter. I didn't like that. I hated that.
It did make it a little bit more tactful, excuse me, but it.
Yeah.
If you consider that being something that doesn't cost meter, that may be something that ends up being spammed, so we would want to be careful on that. That's probably why they're putting that balance in there.
Right. And then they made a different button. Like, it used to be like forward X, and now it was like forward XR2, I think, or was it just forward one of the trigger buttons? I don't remember. I
don't know. Just give me like an Oculus Rift Soul Calibur that causes you to be on that treadmill thing I saw. What was it, PAX? that would just be nuts, and you have to hold like a Wii remote controller and just like hold your thing. It'd just be nuts.
That'd be really cool.
It'd be too much.
It'd be a little much. It'd be really cool to try. I don't think I would want to like have that be a normal thing I did.
Oh yeah, you could get little force feedback sensors, put them on your chest, or just have some guy punch you when you get hit. I don't know.
Get stabbed in the side. Ah!
Everyone's health bar would be so low.
They're like, time out.
But yeah, just Soul Calibur and Marvel vs. Capcom. I mean, the thing I always loved about Marvel vs. Capcom is like, oh cool, I can have Ryu and Mega Man fight each other, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
Then they took Mega Man away.
They did, and I don't understand. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 was like my bread and butter of fighting games for a long time. And then 3 came out, and I was just like, all right.
Yeah.
That was
always that one was Ken, Captain Commando, and Hulk. That team.
Good combo.
Well, I mean, when you're mixing all the supers together, if you do Ken's anti-air, like super burning Shoryuken or straight up,
Yeah.
and then Captain Commando swords bring him straight down, and then Hulk does a Gamma Crush right after that, sends him back up, and then down, it's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially in a corner, just murders life. No hope.
I remember my dream team was Hayato.
Okay.
Morgan was always on my team no matter what. And then it was like a toss-up between Psylocke and who else was like my other go-to person in that? I mean, yeah, that would probably be or Cammy. Cammy was a monster. Yeah.
You know, I got that on my Xbox.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we should throw down at some point.
I have it on my PS3. Yeah. And I don't have a 360, remember? I only have a 1.
Then I guess it will never be.
For now.
For now, yes, for now.
The internet.
Yeah, what about you? What were your 2 favorite?
Marvel vs. Capcom 2. And you know, it's funny because it was always a toss up between, for me, Street Fighter 4 and Soul Calibur 3. I loved Street Fighter 4. Like, I played that game up until it was through college. Like, I was still playing it. Like, I was still playing, like, with my friends coming over. We would hang out, and it would be, like, 3 in the morning, and we're still going at it. And I was still using Chun-Li or Cammy, you know, just, like, ripping my friends apart.
They're pretty execution heavy, right?
Yeah. It's a very execution heavy game, but
that's why I always in Marvel vs. Capcom 3 I liked Hulk, because I didn't have to just have my fingers flying over the controller. It's like, okay, heavy attack, launcher, couple of mediums, heavy again. It's like I can just sit there, barely push anything, and just destroy people.
Yeah, Hulk was fucking strong as shit.
Oh yeah, he is strongest one there is.
Yeah. It was Wolverine. He was strong. He had a low defense though, but he was strong and fast. And Soul Calibur 3 was like, they implemented like these really cool creative character movesets and yeah.
I remember doing that with my brother. We would always make up these ridiculous looking characters.
Yeah.
Like I made, I think that was the first one. It had that guy with the scythe, right? The long scythe, the third one.
Yes.
Yeah, because I would make a Moon Knight out of him. Because we would get like the hood over that, give him really black face, make the eyes really white.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. That's awesome. Again, Namco, Bandai, make your next, just do it. People want it.
It's eternally retold, man. Come on, keep making. No, we want it.
That's a good one. And so we're going to move right into the rest of the podcast.
Okay.
And so, what have you been playing lately?
Well, lately I have been playing. I just recently installed a Nintendo 64 emulator on my laptop, so I was playing Ogre Battle. I was playing a little bit of Mega Man 64 on there while I had time. I was away from home for a little bit, and I needed something to keep myself busy. I also have a Super Nintendo on there too, and I've been playing Mega Man X again. Forgot how much fun that was.
Yeah.
But more recently, I'm still playing Destiny, especially with the Dark Below expansion just came out. We can touch on that more later. There's a bunch of new stuff. And also, I have been playing Far Cry 4, which is a lot of fun. My lovely lady bought that for me for Christmas. Got it a little early. Aww. So, oh, dude, she's amazing. But yeah, no, that's the weirdest game. If you see a honey badger in that game, run. They are vicious, and they will kill you. They are not cute and cuddly at all. I died because of a honey badger.
Honey badger doesn't give a fuck.
It does not. I shot it with freaking like 4 or 5 rounds of this pistol, and it still came at me. That thing was just a nightmare.
Would a rocket work against it?
Actually, you know, now that I think about it, there was one in a cage, and there was a couple of those Royal Army guards that were right next to it. I fired a rocket launcher at it to try to kill everything, and then 2 of the guys died, and the honey badger just comes out of the cage like it was nothing and kills the other guy.
Don't fuck with honey badger.
No, you do not.
Don't do it.
Everything, like the wildlife in that game is like so well put together. Like there's some sort of deer. It's called something like crazy. I couldn't pronounce it, but it's There's like plenty of deer. The hunting mechanic is awesome. If you want to tag a guy, follow him around, or tag an animal, follow him around with a bow and arrow. It's a lot of fun. That's let's see. There's like snow leopards that have killed me. There's eagles that have killed me. Birds, legitimately. All you'll hear is a little screech in the background, and then next thing you know, your camera will be ripped up forward, and there'll be one, and you're like fighting it off.
Oh wow!
Not like that. This is not manly way to fight. But it was.
That'd be amazing.
No, it's a fun game. It's absolutely gorgeous. I'm playing it on PlayStation 4. I definitely would recommend it as something a little bit different. It's set in Karat, so it's. I'm not sure if that's a real country or not. I haven't looked at it up, but it's very Indian themed. Like. Right. The wildlife, everything there. Like, there's one of the main characters though, the female one, just got these ridiculous like haunting green eyes. Like, there's cutscenes where she's like looking right at you, and you're just like, "I'll do whatever you say."
whatever you need, my lady. Whatever you need.
But no, it's in all seriousness though, it is a very fun game. I definitely would recommend giving that a shot.
Have you done any of the co-op in it yet?
I have not, just because I've only been playing it for a couple days. I'm one of those people that when I get my hands on it, I just like to kind of dive in and explore around a bit. I've only done maybe 3 story missions. The rest has been me just kind of wandering around the landscape. The wingsuit, you can get that real quick.
Nice.
The gyrocopter, be warned, I think it has an altitude limit because I've stalled it out a couple times, and that leads to a bad time when you bail out and you don't have a wingsuit yet. You just kind of fall and die, and it was quite unfortunate. Yes.
Lesson learned.
Yes, lesson learned.
Yeah,
no parachute without a wingsuit. Remember, kids.
Remember, kids. Bring a parachute or a wingsuit.
Well, the wingsuit, I think, gives you the parachute as well. Like, you have to deploy the wingsuit, and then when you're flying around, you can deploy the parachute with X.
Oh, that's interesting. Nice. I played Far Cry 3, and like towards the end of the game, you get the wingsuit, and I was like, that just opens up a whole new avenue of traversal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. Just go as high as you can, just whee.
Well, it's honestly like the way it's set up. There's plenty of like hills and valley in the game, so once you get it, there's plenty of opportunities to use it.
That's awesome. And you did talk a little bit about. Did you want to talk about the Dark Below for your guest topic, or did you want to touch on it now?
We'll do that during the guest topic.
Okay.
We'll get through the other course of the news first.
All right.
We'll leave that for the special bit at the end.
And so what have I been playing? Duh. I've been playing some Fantasia. Just pick that up.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention I'm playing that too.
Yeah, it's good. It's real good. I'm very. We had a chance to play it at the live stream event we did at Andy's, and we played it for like 6 hours straight.
Oh god, yeah, we didn't even get to the horror segment we were gonna do. We just ended up playing it.
Yeah, and for good, we were tired as hell by the end of it. And like I realized, like while I was playing, I was like missing notes. I was like, this is why I was doing so bad towards the end. It's like I was just so tired. I didn't realize I was tired. It's an interesting thing that game does to you while you're doing that, though. Oh
yeah, I mean, being able to change a song midway through, going from the original version to a remix or vice versa, is just as a music lover, it's awesome. It's a lot of fun.
It's very. If anyone has an Xbox One or 360 and you have a Kinect, you need to have this game.
Well, good news. Even if you don't, they're like $20 at GameStop to get a Kinect now pre-owned.
360
for a 360. Yeah.
Wow.
So if you got the old system, you want to just go grab that. I think I grabbed it on Black Friday with got Fantasia for like $20-$30.
Yeah.
Brand new.
That's awesome.
Amazon.
I think Amazon still has the sale right now, but Amazon had it for $30 as well for the Xbox One. So that's a steal.
Yeah. Worth your money. Go get it.
Go get it. What else have I been playing? I've been playing some Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. I'm still having a lot of fun playing that. Playing a little bit of Sunset Overdrive as well. I still haven't beat that game. And there are just so many games that I need to like go back to and like go through and completely finish. I played some Titanfall the other day.
Okay.
Yeah, that was fun.
I'm about halfway through, I think, The Evil Within still. I got to do that game meter doses. It's very traumatic.
Is it really?
Yeah. It's got like Goro's sister in there. It's this chick that looks like Goro, and the grunge or the ring chick had like this weird kid, big hair, black hair all over the face, like 2 extra arms, kind of like stomps around in weird ways, screams a lot. Turn-offs include fire, so if you meet her, remember, set her on fire, you'll probably live.
She enjoys long walks on the beach and climbing.
She actually does, because there's in one section where I'm at right now, she's just like crawling around a chain link fence in the middle of the entirety of the area, and I'm going and walking around downstairs. That's actually where I decided to take a break. Because I got to the bottom of the stairs, I'm like, do I want to deal with her again?
Yeah.
It's like meeting an ex-girlfriend that you just really hate, even just being around. After that first time, it just was so bad, and just I don't want anything to do with her.
Do you have fire to deal with her now?
Yes, I upgraded the crossbow to where now I have my default arrows spewing fire damage in addition to the regular 240% damage boost. So I invested in that heavily just because I hated her so much. So I figured I saw her again, I could set her on fire, and it's very useful in a lot of the other enemies.
That's fantastic.
So if you're playing the Evil Within, just keep in mind, you want to get that fire damage boost on that crossbow, because that will help you deal with a lot of the mini bosses and bosses.
That's awesome. Have I been playing anything else? I probably have. I'll probably remember later on, but I've been trying to play as many things as I can in between I played Geometry Wars not too long ago.
Ooh.
And that's fun. That's a really fun game. It's kind of like
drinking it's like Mass Blaster drinking a gallon of LSD. Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of Resogun and Super Stardust HD.
Ooh. I
Both
like
those games.
Resogun.
Yeah.
Resogun was fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they had, like, did some DLC for it a while back that was free. And I think I downloaded it, but I haven't really played around with it too much, so they've still been adding stuff to it. It's a really good game. And I remember seeing Transistor on sale, like super sale, for like $8 a while back. I didn't buy it, but
That's not bad.
yeah, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I heard really good things about that game.
I haven't played it yet myself, but I have heard it's good. Mm-hmm. Speaking of other games, what are the new releases we get out right now?
So, Kingdom Hearts HD 2.5 Remix.
Nerd rejoicing.
I'm like really just ready for Kingdom Hearts 3. Like anything else that comes out aside from that, it's just like
Well, it's funny you bring that up, because now that Disney has Marvel and they have Star Wars, are they going to be including Disney and Star Wars levels and characters?
They have to.
I think it would be good.
They need to. That'd be awesome.
It'd be kind of weird seeing Goofy and Iron Man hanging out in the same room, though. I'm not gonna lie.
It would be weird as fuck. You said that about the Final Fantasy characters too. I mean, at least
True.
I did. I was like, why would fucking Mickey Mouse be hanging out with Riku? Well, I mean, no, I guess Riku makes sense, but like Titus or Auron. Yeah. Final Fantasy X. What? The Crew is out.
Okay.
Star Wars: The Old Republic, Shadow of Raven. I think it's just
Yet another lengthy expansion.
Yeah. Lara Croft and the Temple of Osiris.
I looked that up actually. That's it looks like it's because I played the first one. I can't remember what it was called.
Yeah,
the recent like arcade just it felt more like a top down Diablo style like loot and shoot. But now they're gonna have a 4-player co-op, but it's dynamic to where if you're playing by yourself, the puzzles, the levels actually change accordingly. And then if you have people dropping in, jumping out with co-op, the puzzles will change. So let's say you're doing a mission by yourself, right? And then you got 3 people that all want to jump in. Well, the mirror puzzle you're working on now has a whole bunch more mirrors. And so you got to get everybody doing teamwork.
Right. Does it change like while you're in the room and it's just like
From the videos I've seen, looks like it will, yes.
What? That's insane. All right, I'm interested now. That's really cool. I also played the original one. I didn't get through all of it. I think it was like the Temple of Light or something like that.
That's it, yeah, Temple of Light.
Light. And
I didn't finish it either. I just had so much other stuff going on game wise. Yeah. They got my money though.
Game of Thrones episode 1. I played that. It was very good, but I'm not
how is it?
I'm not a Game of Thrones. Like, I've watched some of Game of Thrones, but I haven't caught up to like what's actually going on in the season. So like, it takes place during the Red Wedding, I think.
Ooh.
But I don't know anything about the characters' involvement with each other, and so there were decisions that you had to make based on like what characters did or didn't like about something else or someone else, and I had no fucking clue what I was doing. Like, I was like so completely lost, and like I was like, did I just say the right thing? Like, there's an option where you can like take a key and a coin or something like that. I was like, was I supposed to take the coin? Was I supposed to take the key? Was I supposed?
I guess you'll find out. Stay tuned for episode 2.
See, and that's the only thing I don't like about it is that like if you don't have the context of watching the show or reading the books, you really have no clue what's going on. Whereas with The Walking Dead, since it picked up in kind of like a separate story arc, you were going into it fresh without needing to know anything about the world.
Yeah, that was one of the benefits of it, because I believe the Walking Dead game was based more on the comic as opposed to the actual TV show. That's why there was moments where Glenn was in there.
Yeah.
Didn't seem like a big deal. Mm-hmm. You can't hear the washing machine, can you?
A little bit, but it's not a big deal.
Okay.
No.
I could just go shut the door.
Or do that.
2 seconds, you all get to see me walk away and come back.
Look at that ass. Oh, yeah. I told you guys, this is the extra sexy episode of Black Oni Podcast / Ebony and Ivory. Got a nice little shot of your junk there.
Had to try. Want to demonstrate my cat-like speed and reflexes.
Meow. But that was one of the things I really did like about The Walking Dead, because I think it was more based on the comics, but since it was like there weren't too many characters from the comics, at least as far as I know, that were in there, but they made cameos and like they were a part of it in some way. Like
Herschel was there. You ended up being on the farm. You most of some of the family you got to see. Mm-hmm. That traumatic scene with the fence.
Yeah, no, that was pretty rough.
That's like the most emotionally stressful game I've ever played.
So much. Oh my god.
And I loved it.
By the end of it, I was just like in tears. I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Episode 3, I lost like half my party. I was just like, I stopped playing for like 20 minutes. I needed to recover. It was rough. I made the mistake of getting emotionally invested. Like in Last of Us, when you met the guy and his little brother.
Yeah.
Right? And his brother gets bit. He dies.
Spoiler alert!
Oh, yeah, sorry. The game's been out for like a year. They haven't played it by now. That I don't know what they're doing on this podcast. But, no, and then the guy kills himself. And you're just sitting there, you're like...
And then, like, the next transition was just them kind of just like, okay, just walking forward. Mm-hmm.
I need some chocolate milk. I need something comforting.
I need a hug. Yeah, that part was really rough because everything was like fine. You know, there was finally some hope in the world that, you know, they're.
Oh yeah, I was gonna have some friends. It was gonna be cool. Ellie had somebody her own age to talk to.
Right. And then he died.
No, just ripped it away from me.
And then Tess, oh my god, like that was.
You know, I didn't get emotionally attached to Tess
because we didn't have as much time with her.
Yeah,
I was more attached to the fact that like that was Joel, like Joel and her like had that strong connection. I was more attached with that idea. You know, they were getting through this and they had gone through so much. You know, and then like, you know, this moment of desperation where she's trying to hold on to the idea of, you know, there being a cure, there being something. There's a lot of desperation in that game.
I think that's one of the things that conveyed very well about such a apocalypse, especially when you're out trying to survive on your own. I mean, things were kind of okay in the city when they were in that quarantine zone, but the second they step outside, it's just like tooth and nail pretty much the entire time, especially when later on in the game, Ellie and Joe end up in that snow retreat area. You remember? Yeah, that is just, it's like, okay. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, oh crap, I'm playing as Ellie.
Yeah, that was amazing.
And I gotta get through all this.
Yeah, that was an amazing part of the game because it was just you didn't really know exactly what happened. You just saw her out there. You're just like, what?
It was seamless.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. That's such a masterpiece. I haven't played the online in a long time because they kind of ruined the online for me in some ways. It's like they implemented the paid for DLC for the weapons and perks, And so like you have some people running around with perks that you don't have because you didn't pay for them, and the same with weapons.
Well, hey, it's all about it. This is that's still a business.
I still think if they were to have implemented DLC, it should be for cosmetic, not for gameplay altering mechanics. Like that's a whole it's a whole balancing issue thing. Like pay to win versus pay for additional things. I don't know. It is a business. They got to make their money, but fucking I hate that.
Yeah, well, that's what we got. Let's see what else is out now. Final Horizon, Secret Ponchos. I played that for a little bit. That was fun.
Yeah, it was free for PlayStation Plus, right?
Yes, it is this month. As is Injustice: Gods Amongst Us. Throwing that out there, people. This whole month, it's a good game. Pick it up. It's free if you have PlayStation Plus. We'll you want to see Superman punch people into orbit? It's a great time.
Captain Toad Treasure Tracker.
Oh.
I don't know. I think it's a Nintendo game. Gianna Sisters.
And I don't know much about that one.
Me neither.
Well, it's out.
It's out if you guys want.
Good news! Gianna Sisters, Game of the Year. Go get it now.
And Suikoden 2, which is a re-release, which is an old PlayStation game, which I heard really amazing things about.
I haven't played it myself.
Me neither. And so they said it came out around the time Final Fantasy VII came out. And
probably why a lot of people haven't heard of that, especially within the brilliant troll that Square Enix did at the PlayStation Experience, where
perfect segue.
Hey, they flashed this Final Fantasy VII logo, right? You see people in the crowd going crazy, like, "Oh yeah, we're getting a remake," and it's like, "You get to play it," and then they show the trailer, and it's the PC port.
It's literally the same fucking game.
It's the same lucky face glory as
high resolution blocks now.
Oh yay!
Yeah, now you can see every individual pixel.
Well, here's the thing. A lot of people are up in arms about that, where, it's just a port, they're upset about it. But here's two things that could happen with a Final Fantasy remake that you would want to think about. One, they remake it in its entirety, but they just give it like a new graphic shell, maybe buff up the engine a little bit, but they leave everything else the same. About halfway through the game, you're going to start to feel a little bit jaded because, I've already done this before. Mm-hmm. The nostalgia will wear off at that point. Mm-hmm. And then you'll just be kind of regretting your decision. Also, if they completely remake it from scratch, right? They change up the story. They do all this stuff. There's going to be that just interior nerd rage where all of a sudden you've taken something that you loved and held so dear and made it completely different.
For no apparent reason.
Yeah, like they'll redo all the audio, they redo the music, they change up the level design, and you're playing pretty much a different game with the same characters.
Right.
And then again, you're going to be disappointed.
Right.
Some things like Final Fantasy VII, as it is, yes, the graphics are as it is, pretty old school, but the rest of the game's so well put together. It makes such a good atmosphere. It makes such a good, just well put together experience that it's fine as it is. And the PC port, if they did. I mean, admittedly, if they had just upscaled the graphics a little bit, probably it would be fine, just not touching anything else. Because everything as it is for Final Fantasy VII, it's fine.
Right.
If you want to go play it, you will not be disappointed. The game still runs great. It's one of those things that'll hold up over time. Like if you're looking at Wind Waker, for instance, how their graphical choice on that maybe at the time was a bit controversial because everyone's like, "Oh, Toon Link, what's that about?" But now you can play the game. And it still looks great because just the design choice they made for it.
Especially if you're playing the remake on the remaster on the Wii U.
Even if you play the old GameCube version.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's still great.
And I think that speaks to more along the lines of like the visual style of it, because like Final Fantasy VII versus, like Wind Waker, obviously very, very distinct and different styles. I would definitely say Wind Waker is a much more visually appealing experience than Final Fantasy VII, not just for graphics, but just in terms of like the aesthetics of the way the kind of characters are designed in game, I should say. And I guess that's my thing too, is that like I didn't play Final Fantasy VII because when I was going to play it, they had shown that Final Fantasy VII like remake trailer already. I was like, I'll just wait for that to come out and play it, because like I would like to play it in like, you know, it's better glory version, I guess. You know, I was just assuming that the game was just going to be a prettier version of what already existed, and I was totally okay with that. I imagine there will be people who aren't okay with that, who want to have like a new experience with Final Fantasy VII, but at the same time, that's what the other games are for.
Yeah, it's honestly the trouble with remakes is that it's only selling to the crowd who's really played it before, because
or who didn't play it before at all. So like the Wind Waker remake, for example, like I never played Wind Waker.
Yeah, but that was a remake though. That was just like a fresh game. Yeah, they kind of kept most of everything together, but they changed the graphics up a little bit. They buffed up the engine. They made sailing a little bit easier, which for me was like, okay, I'm gonna put the controller down while I go sail this island. I'm gonna go get a snack, and by the time I come back, I still won't be there. But it's when you look at a lot of these games, like when you remake Final Fantasy VII, that's pretty much what I would end up going to. Like it'd just be that crowd where these people are who have such fond memories of it in our younger days just want to play that experience again. Nothing wrong with that. You want to play it? Go ahead. But you're not getting new polygons. Sorry.
So what would be your preferred way of playing Final Fantasy VII? If would you rather have it the way that they're doing it, or would you rather have it, you know, like remastered, like new graphic engine? Would you rather have it a whole new experience?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it was so long ago for me as a kid. Like, yeah, I'll remember some of it, but just with how it is, even if they didn't change a lot of it, that would still be a good, fresh experience for me. Let's slap a good coat of paint on it, maybe buff the engine up, remix the audio a little bit. It's good enough for me. I'm not too picky.
I'm with you on that one. I know you heard the news of Street Fighter V being announced for the PS4 and PC exclusively.
Yes. Ready for that.
So ready.
Very excited. Sony is grabbing a lot of exclusives all of a sudden and just trying to, since they sold so many consoles over the Xbox One, a lot of companies are going to that. But the news is that it's exclusive. Now, did they say it's permanently exclusive?
The thing
Or is this going to be
they went to Sony for
a
funding.
year exclusive?
So Sony's actually funding this project.
If they're funding it, that may be something where, hey, you Windows users, you're only going to get that on PC. Sorry. And they're saying something about there's cross-platform play.
Yep.
Where I can go stomp a guy playing PC if I want.
Yep.
That's going to be awesome. That's going to definitely help out, I think, with their player base. Because, you know, usually when you play a fighting game on a console, you're limited to that console. You don't get the option of jumping from, okay, I have a PlayStation 4. I want to play guys on PlayStation 3. Not a lot of games do that.
Right.
But now that this is kind of a really interesting thing where you're having PlayStation, a home console, going up against PC, which could be running on just about any different operating system you could think of.
Right.
And then being able to play each other.
Right.
What that would worry me a little bit about is just the fact that PC modding is a little bit more extensive.
Right. Right.
Would be something that, I mean, it's not Capcom or Sony's first go around. I'm pretty sure they can come up with a quick, easy banhammer detection system and just slap a permaban on these guys. But
kind of like what they did with Final Fantasy 14. Because that was also it's an MMO that you can play between PC and PS4, and I think PS3 as well. I think it's cross-platform between all three. I think, and that's amazing. That's like revolutionary in its own way. You know, it's like it's insane. So,
well, when you look at it, it's just going to be an easier way for them to sell the system.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like your friends are playing on PC, you can get the game on PC or PS4 and still play with them. Like,
oh yeah,
it's amazing.
Well, looks like what they've been talking about doing is I didn't see looked like there's going to be a guard break mechanic.
Yeah.
And if those of you in the know remember playing Street Fighter 3, that there was a guard break mechanic in there.
So I'm hearing rumors that they're trying to bring it back to some of the mechanics of Street Fighter 3 versus any of the other ones.
Well, as far as I understand it, I saw a video of somebody trying to explain the chronology of Street Fighter games, and they said how Street Fighter 3 was actually after Street Fighter 4 in their timeline.
Yep.
Because if you look at some of the moves that Ryu can do, for example, his Hadouken in the trailer was infused with some lightning.
Yeah.
And I believe, what's his name? Goken?
Goken.
Whoever Ryu's teacher was.
Yeah, Goken.
That guy, he was the only one who had that ability, and Ryu hadn't learned it yet in Street Fighter 4, apparently, because he couldn't do the move.
He had the Metsu Hadouken. That was his strongest Hadouken versus Shinku Hadouken, which is in the later games.
Well, I still think his Hadouken from Marvel vs. Capcom is probably the better one, because it just looks like a freaking Kamehameha wave and just like obliterates everything. Yeah. And the good aspect of that would be just how, okay, now that they're releasing Street Fighter 4 and they're having this Omega mode where you have these extra different moves and stuff like that, they're kind of teasing a little bit, okay, we're going to change things up. They want to, because that's how a lot of companies do things these days. They'll release the DLC, see how people like it, and then decide if they want to put it in the final game for their next project. I mean, that's the same thing happened with Assassin's Creed, with the boat combat.
Yep.
A lot of other games have done that in the past. I can't draw them up just because it's only like 12:40 and I haven't had a coffee yet. And but if you look at it, this is going to be a fun game. It's going to be huge at Evo. It's going to be just an absolute monster. And
I hope it's good.
It's going to drive even more Sony sales. All hail our Sony overlords. and it's just going to be... It's going to be, this is the first Street Fighter that it's going to be a pure Street Fighter that I'm going to actually sit down and probably train with, because I've always loved the idea of, like fighting games in general, because they are more of a puzzle-based game if you think about it, because you have to come up with strategies on your own, find if they're effective or not, then anticipate and defend against your opponent's strategies before they actually unleash them upon you. That's one of the things that's difficult with Marvel vs. Capcom 3, because there's just so much going on at once. But when you look at Street Fighter, in its purest form, it's the oldest mixed martial arts game out there. You have everybody with a different style, their different perks, their different strengths, weaknesses, and now we'll have guard break on top of that.
That makes me a little nervous, because it encourages more aggressive play, but if there's a way to counter guard breaks, then it doesn't matter, because like they've been really good about like finding ways to like balance certain aspects of the game. So like Street Fighter 4 was like just so fine-tuned. It was like the focus attack could be used for like several different things. It could be used
as a feint, as even just punching, trying to time as opponents to opponent who has an auto combo coming in to where you're going to get hit by one of them, but there's a little bitty delay between the attacks and you want to launch it right at that particular moment.
You can absorb the attack and then punch right back after that, which stuns them a little bit, and then you have the full focus attack, which is you charge up and it's an automatic guard break. It'll automatically go through their guard and hit them. It's like
the other thing that it's also used for, eating fireballs. Yes. Because as I understand it, you would take the hit, but it wouldn't do a whole lot of damage. It would do the damage, but you would recover it.
Yeah, so it would, like, if your health bar is here and someone throws a fireball, and then it'll actually take this, but it'll recharge if you absorb that attack. And if you get hit while you're getting hit, while it's absorbing,
then you lose it.
Then you lose the health,
It's a little bit of a gamble, but it can be used to cut through certain people trying to spam you out, keep you locked out. You take that one hit, then try to come in with a quick move.
Absolutely.
But I don't know if you've seen the Street Fighter 4 Omega, but now Ken can throw fireballs with kicks.
Yeah, right?
Angled, even for anti-air purposes. It's going to be wonderful. I mean, if you look
crazy. Cammy has
if some of these
crazy
moves,
attacks.
Oh yeah. If these moves end up being carried over to Street Fighter 5, I think we're going to have a pretty new dynamic, and a lot of people are going to have to relearn how to use some of these characters.
I'm going to show you a clip from Street Fighter 5. I watched the live stream yesterday, and it had it was like the Capcom Cup tournament. And
Capcom Cup tournament.
Yeah, it was insane. I didn't even know it was a thing.
They released Charlie already, right? They saw a trailer of that.
So Mike Ross and one of the other guys who's like really big in Street Fighter, they had 2 matches in Street Fighter 5, and you got to
they
watch.
actually have it running.
Yeah, they had it running, and there were 2 matches, and I was just like, I was flipping my shit. Like, I want that game, and it's like so many mechanics that they're doing in it that I'm just like I'm not even sure like what that's going to be like or how that's going to play out, and et cetera, et cetera. I think it's going to be really interesting. So I'll show you. I have to log into my freaking see where I have it. Come on.
That's the other thing with a lot of fighting games, that they grow and evolve as more people get their hands on it. Like some of the combos in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, for instance, some of the crazier overtop ones ended up taking like a year while the game was out before people figured this out. Because they don't release like a thing, oh, you can do these little combos, we'll show you how to do that, but here's the toys, go play with it.
Right.
And community ends up running wild with it. That's how a lot of people actually make YouTube money. They'll make combos, post them up on there.
Exactly.
Like if you look at Maximilian, you probably heard of him.
Yeah. I was actually just watching one of his videos yesterday.
He just got hired on, I think, now to work with Killer Instinct.
Really?
To where now he's officially in a capacity as one of their consultants in some fashion, I believe. And like all week he's been playing Con Ra. Like every time a new character comes out, he ends up being the face, the demo for it. And like he'll do these live streams, he'll display the characters. So that's
so awesome.
I think that's one example of a person in the community who ends up showing other people what potentially they can do with these characters, and then the fighting community just runs with it.
Yes, absolutely. And that's one of the beauties of, I guess, this age of digital media that we live in right now, is that like people like Maximilian can be a thing. They can be a not only like a source of entertainment, but like a resource for some of especially the people who are more serious about games, who can like go in and like get the analysis of each character. And,
it's a great learning tool.
Yeah, it's so cool.
And then Justin Wong will get his hands on Street Fighter V, and no one will want to play anymore.
Or
because
Daigo.
He'll just destroy everyone again.
I was watching the Cup yesterday, and Justin Wong and Daigo went up against each other for like their first round. And,
oh wow!
And for you guys at home who don't know who they are, there's this clip. If you search in Street Fighter 3 Chun-Li versus Ken Parry, you'll see this
it's
ridiculous comeback from Daigo. He's just like, he was using Ken, and Chun-Li like unleashed a special move, and this was
it's
like
a rapid kick.
Yeah.
It goes with like it's when you block an attack, you take chip damage, but unless you parry, then it negates it. And somehow this fool blocks like what was it, like 15, 16 kicks in this automatic combo that he throws at him, and then just fires back and drops him.
Yeah,
it's like it's like watching the level of play with it at those higher levels at Evo for fighting games is so daunting.
It's insane.
I mean, these are people who end up playing it professionally, and these guys, they end up being martial artists in their own right in that form.
Right.
And this particular video that Will was mentioning, it was nearly like watching a PC play it, just in that one moment, because it was so could not have been it. It was. He had no health, pretty much, to work with, and the fact that if one of those chip damages or hits had gone through, he would have been out. And then he takes everything as it is, just this unbelievable comeback. Just seriously, you'll probably put a link in somewhere in the description below. Check it out. You want to see that, because you see the entire room just go crazy. Yeah, because no one had seen that done before.
Right. That
wasn't something that people. Usually, if they're in a corner and they're getting beat down, they'll usually just take it. He fought through it. Yeah,
fought through it with everything he had, and he.
People get so amped about these games too. It's a lot of things that a lot of people don't realize. There's this huge fighting game culture where these people, they've fought each other so many times where that. At those professional levels, it's almost a meta where, okay, last time I fought this guy, last year he did this. I want to try to see if I can psych him out of it, or I prepared for it. Hopefully he hasn't brought anything new.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully he's going to use a character that everyone knows he uses. And like, every character has their own nuances, their own frame data, their own move sets, their own, disadvantages and advantages. So it's so cool.
Yeah.
And speaking of kind of the overall reveal in general, and it's the Capcom Cup, PlayStation also did their own event. It was the PlayStation Experience, which had a bunch of different announcements. I don't know if we want to go into detail about all of them, but there were a bunch of things that were announced during that experience. You know, we had games like Drawn to Death from David Jaffe. I don't know if you saw anything about that.
I didn't see that. What's that about?
So that is a game that is a kind of like Team Fortress. It's a class-based multiplayer game.
Okay.
And it takes place inside of like high school students' like notepad. And so
it's all like little stick figures fighting each other.
Well, they're not stick figures. They like drawings. So they're like drawings fighting each other, and like the world is like on a notepad with like the lines and everything, and like it's all 3D rendered. So it's like this world come to life with like all these random like doodles in the environments.
I remember doing little doodles of like stick figures in war or something when I was in math class back in middle school. So
yeah,
I think that's something a lot of people did back in time to waste, and to see that realized on a piece of paper in the game would probably be very fun. Yeah. So I think that's a great idea. I like that.
It's a really great idea. I'm really digging that. I'm like, all right, David. All right, I see what you did there. So you guys at home, there'll probably either be a link or you can look it up on YouTube or something. It's
click the annotation somewhere here, or here. You'll see.
Very cool. And then they were, they announced that The Forest was coming to PS4, which is very similar to Minecraft in that it's a kind of like a tower defense, like survival type of game. But it's like all like fully rendered. It's like fully realized, fleshed out world.
Oh, so it's not blocks.
It's not blocks, and it's like the creatures that go after you are legitimately scary as shit. Like,
you thinking creepers aren't scary?
I mean,
you seen the inside of them? They have explosives. That's scary shit.
some scary shit. But this, I've seen it demoed on PC. I don't know if it's out on PC yet, but I did see some YouTubers like playing around with the beta versions of it a while back, and it looks really interesting. Like you can build your own, houses or fortresses and stuff, and you can just kind of go wild with it. I don't know what the full story is or anything, but it looks really interesting. And I'm trying to think of like all the other announcements that happened during PlayStation Experience. There were a lot of great things that came out of it, and they showed off obviously Uncharted 4.
Yay!
Yeah. I'm just hoping that the writing is going to be as good as Uncharted 2, because that was a fucking fantastic game. Like 3 was great too.
This one song to the series, right?
Say that again?
That's the end of the series at that point, right? They're not planning to make any more?
I would assume so. I mean,
I don't think they'll screw it up.
Yeah.
You've already got Troy Baker confirmed voicing another character in that, and you've got him and Nolan North, and that alone says to me at least the voice acting is going to be solid. So we're good.
Yeah.
We're good on that. I don't think they'll screw that up.
I just hope not, because their lead writer, Amy Hennig, she left. I think there was like a disagreement between things that they wanted, like creative disagreement. And
yeah, those always end up so well. Destiny. Just stating. Why?
Yeah, they fucked up in Destiny, but I heard the Dark... Well, we'll talk about it later. We'll talk about it.
Okay, yeah, we'll get to that next.
Yeah, they did fuck up on Destiny really bad.
Well, it's one of those things where, like, they're never going to come out and say, yeah, we know why it happened. It's one of those things where they got to bite it. They just got to bite it and they got to take it.
Yeah, they really do.
But it hasn't hurt them too much because the game is still fun.
The game's still fun. It's still, people are still buying it.
Mm-hmm.
I
saw a cute level 2 the other day running around. He had like no grimoire score. It was adorable. I'm already 31 and I just like lay waste to everything he was trying to kill.
I'll show you.
I drop in, I wave, and then I leave.
It's probably like, look at his armor. Yeah, no big deal.
Can he even see my level at that point, or is it like an X with scary question marks on it? I'm pretty sure he could see 31, but if he was an Iron Banner, oh man.
Oh yeah, that would be...
Backhand him like a puppy.
Dead. Flying.
The other cool thing with the PlayStation Experience, they released the 20th anniversary stuff, like the museum.
Yes.
There is the old school PlayStation theme that you can download for free, which is awesome. It's all gray background. Everything's got like the rainbow colors on them.
Yeah.
If you guys remember the old little chime that pop up when you booted up your PlayStation 1, and that's there every time you power it up now.
You know, I actually don't have that theme on right now. I'm actually going to probably put it on. Is it still free for people, or was it only
It's
free
still free.
that weekend?
Yeah, it's free.
And
Go under themes, go look to download. It's right there.
oh, it's so. So when I first heard that PlayStation was going to be releasing and having a old school version of its console, like the all gray one, I was like, oh, why would I want like a gray version of it? Like I've already had it in a PlayStation, and then I saw it, and I was just like,
You look at it and you're like, I remember the color, the texture. It's exactly the same. It really is. It's not as curvy as
yes,
as the other PlayStation one, but it looks more like the big gray box that used to be in your right there on your entertainment center.
And the thing is, they did a lot of subtle things that were really genius in it, right? For the cover, I think it's either the cover or the console itself. If you look really closely, you can see 20X, and then like I think it is like a square as well, or something like that, triangle, circle. And I think it's a pattern. It's a pattern that's a texture on the actual console.
Wait, it's all X's and circles?
Oh, like X's, circles, and like 20, so like 20th anniversary. But I think it's either on the full body, or I think it might be on the hard drive plate thing. So it might only be on like one section of it. But like I remember like seeing a zoom in close up of that. I was like, well played, Sony. Well played. That was
well. I do believe in the news that was recently reported how they are actually focusing most of Sony's resources now on that entertainment console itself for the PlayStation 4, which they make great TVs, they make good other products, but
expensive. People don't buy them.
But they don't break.
That's true.
You're paying for top of the line stuff. I mean, hey, look, I have a Vizio 42-inch TV. Okay, I'm not gonna say I'm all Sony like all the time, but my Sony headphones that I bought when I was in high school, they're still great.
Yeah, they make amazing headphones.
Their stuff doesn't break. There's no red rings there.
I have headphones that I bought from Sony. They're actually like they're like this, but like circular, and I have them at work. They're really big, so they kind of like probably just have them in like a studio environment. They were like $30, and like I've let people borrow them because they were doing stuff at work, and I've had them come back to my desk like, "Will, these headphones are amazing." I'm like, "Oh, I know, I know."
Oh yeah,
that's why I got them. So
Sony's walking around like, you just jealous of my PlayStation swag. Looking over at you, Microsoft.
And here's the crazy thing about that, right? Is that people were saying for a little while, like, oh, Sony probably doesn't have anything coming. They don't have anything to look forward to in the next year. Or, they only have a few things, and then they do this, and you're just like, holy shit!
PlayStation experience. We're gonna throw our own just little party.
Our own little party for the PlayStation people, for the gamers.
I see sarcastic Wonka popping up like, you like Street Fighter? Guess what? It's only on PlayStation 4 and PC.
I think
everybody with Microsoft controllers are just looking at their little Xbox Smart Glass stuff. They're like, no.
I think that's going to be the thumbnail for this episode.
What? The thumbnail?
So I heard you like PlayStation. I heard you like Street Fighter.
Or what about that other guy? Like, yo, dog, I heard you like Street Fighter.
Yeah, exhibit.
It's only on PlayStation.
That needs to be a thing.
When you look at it, it's very clever on their end. I'm like, yeah, if they went for Capcom went Sony, make us an offer, because Capcom hasn't been doing that great financially, admittedly on their own terms.
It's their own fault. Oh my god.
Well, it's because they're not making Mega Man games.
Mega Man, no Onimusha. What fucking Monster Hunter is only on one console.
That's a DS, right?
Yeah.
3DS. That's it.
The Wii U, I guess, has its own version coming as well.
I saw this weird skin where they let your guy look like Sonic the Hedgehog for Monster Hunter 3DS.
I think they did like during the Capcom Cup, they also did like you could have your character look like Chun-Li, which is like a little rodent version of Chun-Li.
They gave them all animal costumes, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Furry gamers rejoice.
Furries. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, that's just the thing. Sony right now, they're just. Yes, it's true that Xbox did outsell PlayStation 4 in the most recent month because like the price drop. It's out for Christmas. A lot of these other people have that, but here's a question: is the price drop going to stay for the Xbox One like that, or are they going to get rid of it?
The original plan, as far as I understand, was to get rid of it January 12th. I think that was the last day that the $350 promotion was going to be a thing. But
I think that's foolish. That's extremely foolish. I mean, yes, they're not selling it with a Kinect.
Yeah.
That's how they're going to save their money on it. But when they up the price again, all those people that got it for Christmas are going to be trying to tell their friends how they want them to have it, and now it's $50, $60 more.
Yeah.
And that's going to hurt them a little bit.
And
but
it might not even come with a game.
But hey, let's face it, Microsoft has been so brilliant with their advertising of this console from day one. So I expect such good things.
And to be fair, I bought an Xbox One, you know? I got one. I got it when I got it at the $350 price. I tried to get it through this other site, this other like third party site that like finds the best deal for you, and they found like the Sunset Overdrive edition for like $330 or whatever.
Not bad.
And so I was like, yeah, let's do it. And then like it turns out that they were like sold out. They couldn't do it. Well, it was $350, but there was a promotion that you could do for like your first order from them to get like a percentage off. So like I did that.
Oh, okay.
So it was like the app is called Fetch. Guys at Fetch, fucking
free advertising.
Free advertising for now. Next time I'll charge.
No, you won't.
But I did it through them, and then like they're like, oh yeah, we can't do the order because we've ordered too many of them within a time span, and they have to like space out the allocations from from like GameSpot or whatever, or GameStop. I'm sorry. And so they gave me like $20 or $30 as like a sorry for the inconvenience type of thing. I was like, oh great, I can still get the console for $330. Like
yeah, they pretty much just said, okay, hey, we'll honor the original deal.
Yeah, and so that's the reason why I got it. Other than that, I wasn't going to spend $400 on it. I wasn't going to spend, $450, $500.
Well, here's the thing: Xbox, it's not a bad console.
No,
it's not bad. They've just what they originally had envisioned is so completely different than what you're actually playing now. Like it was supposed to be always online, never going to play pre-owned games, only going to require the Kinect. They backed off all three of those, and is it a little too late? Maybe. We're going to have to see like after another year or two, because these consoles are probably going to be a very long cycle, like 6-7 years worth of life. So we got to see what software is going to come out, because the Kinect is definitely superior to the PlayStation Eye camera.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's vastly superior.
Yep.
That's why it's a little bit more. That's why it's more expensive, because the Xbox One Kinect is like $100. PlayStation camera for the PlayStation 4 is like $50.
The Kinect is $150.
It is now?
It's $150.
I was looking at pre-owned then, I guess, but yeah, it's
yeah, the pre-owned.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But that's the thing. The Kinect, I've seen people from MIT make these things drive cars. There's a lot of hardware that's going to be very useful for playing games in your living room. It's going to be a very good family-oriented system because of that. There aren't going to be that many so far, I haven't seen anything PlayStation 4 other than just like the built-in stuff that came with it, like the iToy,
which
robots.
Is really fun, actually. I love that.
Oh yeah, they're fun, but we haven't seen anything with it since.
Yeah.
I believe one of the things was that the light on the actual PlayStation 4 controller was supposed to be picked up by the eye at some point to help for gaming in some capacity, like some features. But since they pulled it off, they kind of got rid of that feature a little bit.
I think that feature still is a thing. So like if you log in, if you like go into your living room, you turn on your system, it'll look at your face and like log you in based on your face, or if you have the controller in your hand, based on the controller in your hand. And so it has like really cool functions and features like that, but they don't really do much with it. So like the biggest reason to have a PlayStation Eye right now is if you live stream.
Yeah, I mean that's going to be very useful when I do our Dying Light. That's going to be so much fun, because Dying Light, if those of you who remember Dead Island, it's made by the same guys. Yes, it's not the new Dead Island that's coming out. That's going to be made by a different company, but it's definitely. I think it's being made by a different development studio.
Okay, all right.
But they're keeping a lot of the same gameplay and stuff intact. But Dying Light is going to be
That's the one I'm
a
looking
bit more
for.
over the top. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that because I love me killing zombies.
Yeah.
It's just so stress relieving. It's so lighthearted. It's funny in its own slapstick way when you see like if you knock a zombie off a roof and you see him splat on the pavement. That's fun. But the thing you want to look at also for PlayStation. Now, where was I going with that? I just lost it.
Well, we were talking about like how the Xbox One is obviously
The camera, the Kinect.
The camera, you know.
Yeah, it's just we're gonna see more coming from them pretty soon. That's what I was thinking about because you have Morpheus, which is by all accounts a lighter. Yes, you still look goofy wearing a VR headset, but it's supposedly lighter, going to have very similar features to Oculus Rift. And let's face it, if you're playing on a console with little controllers in your hand, you're looking around left and right, it's going to be fun, especially on a dedicated console. Because you've probably seen some YouTubers popping up on there playing horror games and things like that with
oh my God.
Morpheus. And there's Project Valkyrie coming out. Or no, Valkyrie, I think it's Eve based.
Eve Valkyrie, yeah.
Yeah, Eve Valkyrie. And that's where you're in your little starfighter ship, and you have to look around to see
where
the cockpit, the readouts, where your opponents are, and you can turn your ship accordingly. You know, like let's when you've ever played a video game, let's say you're driving. What the single most disorienting thing that comes to my mind when I'm playing it is that I have to use the thumbstick to sort of look where I'm going and then turn into that. Yeah, and it's not a very fluid motion, but when you can just easily look, turn the controller over a little bit, and you're all of a sudden looking like you would be normally driving. It's going to make things a lot more fun. Like
driving games are going to be amazing with that.
Racing games are going to be fun. Like
imagine if you have the steering wheel too. Oh,
that would be extensively awesome.
Yeah, because I'm not like a huge racing game fan, but when I play them, I really enjoy them. I like them.
Yeah, I mean, well, hey, if you think about it, you get a Morpheus on you get a steering wheel peripheral with a gas pedal at your feet also. You've got yourself a nice little Forza rival there if it's PlayStation exclusive, which, Drive Club, maybe one day. You're coming.
I've heard good things about their latest update and their latest round of fixes to the game. You know, the game was available on Amazon for about $35 or $30.
That's so awful for them because that was a new title at the time. It should be going for like 60.
I mean, a lot of games are on sale right now too, though.
Oh, it's just a sale? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I was worried that was like a permanent price.
No.
That would hurt them a little bit.
Yeah.
But when's the PlayStation Plus version coming out? Pretty soon.
Whenever
is it still up in the air?
Fully fixed.
Okay, so PlayStation Plus owners still go get Injustice. Still have.
Injustice is great. We got to actually play that.
We do. Yeah. If it's free.
Yeah. Is it PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 3?
PlayStation 4, sir.
I picked it up a while ago when it was like $7. So I was like, yeah.
Well, I mean, all this console news, especially with that PlayStation 4 is getting sold in Japan now.
Oh, China.
China, excuse me, China.
Yes.
Silly of me. I got my Asians confused. That's awful of me. I feel terrible. I've dishonored my ancestors.
Shit's racist.
I just... You could edit that out, right? That's fine.
This is going to be just a long
it's funny. I don't care. I just... Freudian slip. I apologize, Internet. I truly do. I'm sorry.
I apologize more.
But no, here's the cool thing, because originally I did a little research on this, and the reason home consoles are banned in Japan or China. I almost did it again. What's wrong with me? China has them banned. It was because they had felt that the government had felt that it would take too much time and distraction away from their use when they could be focusing on their studies. And I mean, look at America. We're a prime example of that. So they weren't entirely wrong. So they always had to do these little workarounds where there would be a little plug-and-play console, like the little controllers that would have games built into them. Nintendo released some of their 64 games on something called an iQ, which would sort of plug in like a little controller, and it would plug right into the TV. You could play like Ocarina of Time. You could play Mario 64 that way. And if you wanted to download and put on other games on there, you would have a little 64-bit memory card you could plug into it and play more. However, when they banned the home console market, the PC gaming industry just skyrocketed there.
Yeah, absolutely.
It became the dominant force in that country. And now that Sony can release, I believe they're releasing the PlayStation 4 and the Vita simultaneously in China now. And so there's going to have this whole new market available for these kids. They're going to love it.
Right, and the whole thing about them like saying that the games are going to be distracting their youth, like, well, they're just going to pick up a PC instead and just play that. They have way more games that they can play on PC. So your logic kind of makes sense, but it kind of doesn't because they have a backlog of stuff.
I don't see Microsoft in there anywhere.
Well, Microsoft is already selling their console there.
Are they?
Since like a month and a half ago.
That didn't make the news. I didn't hear that.
It made the news a little while back. They ended up like
I didn't see that on my Reddit.
I think it was in October, and they sold like 500,000 units within its first week.
That's not bad. That's respectable.
Yeah, that's really good. Or was it 500,000? I could be exaggerating that number.
That sounds like a decent number.
Yeah. Or maybe it was 100,000.
PlayStation 4 is probably going to sell like 4 million.
It's going to be a lot.
Yeah.
But it makes me wonder though, like if people jumped on the board for the Xbox One initially versus like, are they going to wait for the PlayStation 4 version?
Well, it's going to cost them less money.
That's true. That is very true. I'm like looking it up right now to see
what the exchange rate is and the price change for that.
Okay. Oh wow. So Microsoft 8th generation on Xbox One gaming launched September 29th. Device sold around 100,000 units during its first week on the market.
Okay.
So 100,000. I knew it was one of the 100,000s. So I mean that's there's another article in here saying October 14th China was not impressed with the Xbox One.
I could see them just sitting there and be like, this is it.
So
like, okay, well, I mean, when you think about it, there's not a whole lot of games out for Xbox One that, they haven't already played on PC.
Right.
Especially since many of them are Windows-based.
Right.
Because I think, Titanfall, for instance, that's been on PC for forever. So if they wanted to play it there, they've had that.
That was their trump card. Sunset Overdrive, that's another game that wasn't available on PC. Forza Horizon and Forza 5, both not available on PC. Dead Rising will be available on PC. Right.
That one got past them. I wasn't sure that would they would allow that with how strict they are with their ratings boards. I mean, the only place stricter with their video games than China is definitely Australia.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. That's
a great segue. Let's talk about it now. They banned Grand Theft Auto 5 in Australia for violence against women. Which, when you think about it, it's not just in Grand Theft Auto's defense. It's not just violence against women. It's violence against everyone.
Everything, even cats and dogs. You can shoot and kick cats and dogs.
I've seen people killing seagulls.
Oh yeah, you could do that.
Yeah,
I killed a pigeon.
I saw when you look at it, there was a video that was recently put up where someone had made a nature documentary entirely in Grand Theft Auto 5.
I heard about this.
With it was very much like just an underwater documentary. They took the submarine. It's really cool because it shows you the amount of effort they put into even just creating their underwater ecosystems. There's killer whales, there's dolphins, there's the seafloor. They even talk about the indigenous plant life.
And you can actually there's a plant that's a drug apparently that you can find, and it'll there's one in the water near one of the piers. You can dive down. It's in between these rocks. You pick it up, and it makes your character go on this crazy trip, and he's a dolphin in the water.
Yeah,
so he's just swimming around as a dolphin.
It's similar to the peyote trip, right? Where
that's what it is, peyote trip.
Yeah, but there's underwater peyote.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess Echo the Dolphin minigame confirmed then.
Yes. I was live streaming. One of the people told me to go this direction and go down here, and I was looking around for it, and I finally found it. I was like, this is crazy. This is crazy.
Yeah, when you back on topic, the idea of where Australia is very strict with their video game violence. With how a lot of companies end up getting their workarounds, they'll just make special versions for that where certain things are censored, certain bits of graphic, but you can't change that much of Grand Theft Auto 5 unless you want to make the world entirely without females.
Right, which
some of their characters in the story, they can't do that.
Right.
It's not just a sexist thing. It's just they would have to. It would literally change half the game.
It would.
Plus, I mean, who wants to walk around freaking, what was it, Los Santos?
Los Santos.
Who wants to walk around Los Santos and just look at a massive sausage fest all day? I mean, there'd be a better male to female ratio at the Vatican if you went that path of the game. But if it's a bit understandable because I've never been super huge into Grand Theft Auto because yes, it grants you so much freedom for that, but I mean, the impulse is there for a lot of people, and if they want to do violent things, they have that opportunity available to the game. I remember playing Red Dead Redemption.
Yep.
I would go up to the saloon, I'd hog tie me up a horse, put her on the back of my horse, drag her out of the train tracks, twirl my evil mustache, and just wait. Unfortunately, it took about 15 minutes for a train to get there real time. I didn't think that come through, so I ended up waiting there a long time. And the end result was actually pretty disappointing because the train hits and you see a cloud of red mist, and that's it. It's like a balloon popping.
Yeah, it is.
But there's the violence. It's for their entertainment media. Like it's not just their like the video game rules. They have similar rules with that in movies as well. There in Australia, to where they have their rating system where it's like sort of like the NC-17 rating that you rarely see in theaters in America, but it's more common in Australia just because they want to make sure that they're taking care of their youth, and that's their prerogative as a government. That's how their entire country ended up choosing. And if kids in Australia want to play these games, they have to figure out a way to unregion lock certain consoles and play the Grand Theft Auto import. But it's not, I wouldn't say it's impossible for them to still get their hands on it, but it's not going to hurt Rockstar's revenue too much.
It'll hurt them a little bit, but not as much as if like the U.S. were to do that type of thing.
Oh Lord, if the U.S. didn't do that, that's no point making the game.
Yeah, right.
Because that's where most of the revenue comes from for their games. Because I don't have any figures or any numbers. I probably should have done that beforehand, but there's a vast amount of people, like the gaming culture in America is what pretty much sustains a lot of these Western developers entirely.
Yep.
And when they end, like they can make their money back in a day. Like I think how much money was advertised as being put into Grand Theft Auto 5?
I don't know.
A few $100 million,
at
least.
I would assume at least in the tens of millions because you see them on billboards, you see them on like the sides of full buildings. You know, you see them on TV, you hear them on Spotify, you see it pretty much everywhere. And the crazy thing too is that like the game is like rated M. Like you need to be a certain age to play the game in the first place.
Well, that's the difference between American audiences and things in Australia. Because in Australia, if the game is just too far, they will not just sell it. They just won't. They ban it.
Right.
And that's a government issue. That's for them. In America, we have the GameStop employees. Yay them for. Actually, you know what? My girlfriend was telling me when she went to bought me Far Cry 4, she forgot her ID. They wouldn't give it to her. She's 25 years old.
She does look.
She had to go home,
though.
get her ID, and then go get it for me for Christmas. I felt so bad. I mean, I'm just sitting there thinking, I'm like, I look at my girlfriend. She's smoking hot, but she does not look like she's under 17.
Right.
Like under 18.
Yeah.
She does not.
She doesn't. She does look young. I'll give you that.
Oh well, she's just gorgeous. I mean, I got lucky there. So, but
shout out to the lady.
Just she's good. She's wonderful. Thank you for asking. But just the when you look at it, it's just how they want to control the media that's given to their populace, and that's totally fine. That's their prerogative. In America, you can't. It's so hard to get something banned, just because our political system's so crazy. A lot of them end up having the same ideas, so that's a lot easier for them to pull off. That's why when you look at it, like with China, for instance, how they just straight up banned home consoles.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Government, that's when you get a state-run media, you can do that kind of stuff. You have that kind of power. That's easy to do.
Yeah.
It's a little sadness for Australian gamers, some of them. But let's face it, you already live in a country where half the indigenous wildlife can kill you. Do you really need that much more excitement?
Everything there can kill you. That's pretty much like koalas apparently can kill you.
They're vicious.
They're vicious creatures. They look cute, and then they're just like, "Oh, hey, what's up? Your face gone."
Yeah, it just rips it off.
Yeah.
Koala claws.
Crazy. And
But go ahead.
yeah, it's I don't know. It's funny that you say that because it's like this is like the country everyone thinks of like the most badass like death-defying people will live. It's
You think
like,
of Mad Max. You think of all that.
Mad Max. And he's like, "Oh, we can't play
Hey.
Grand Theft Auto."
Nope.
Like, oh,
Nope.
you have
Denied.
spiders the size of people's faces there,
They do.
and you're worried about Grand Theft Auto.
I didn't know about the spiders.
The
I
spiders
never
there
been to Australia.
are huge.
Ever. No.
Huge.
No. Never. If it eats birds, I don't want to go there.
It eats birds.
I don't want to go.
Totally eats birds. Totally
Can we
does.
just go to New Zealand instead?
New Zealand, I hear, has lots and lots of sheep.
Cool. I like sheep. They're
Yeah,
cuddly.
sheep are good.
Yay, sheep.
No spiders.
No spiders, indeed.
And we talked about it a little bit for a second, but the PS4 being outsold by the Xbox One for the first time in 10 months, it's kind of a big deal because it's like a landmark. Like, Microsoft pulled out all the stops, right? They bundled anywhere between 2 to 4 games in every console. They reduced the price to $350. Some places were selling it for $330, $320.
Jeez.
And they finally outsold the PS4 for a whole month. And I think
And then they're gonna. Well, the thing is, they're taking such a loss on it now. They had the. It speaks volumes to how they pretty much had to give stuff away for people to buy this thing. It's not a bad console. If you have the money, that's cool. But everybody went for the PlayStation 4, and when you look at the technical specs, in about 4 or 5 years, you're going to start seeing there are graphical differences because developers are going to start getting better with the hardware. The RAM, I think, is a little bit better on the PlayStation.
it's much better on the PlayStation.
It's going to end up
The GPU
like
is better on the
outpacing
PlayStation.
at some point. Yeah.
And the crazy thing is that even if you look at kind of the logistics behind like the games that are coming out that are performing better on the PlayStation, you'll still that will still continue to keep happening throughout, right? And there are certain things that the Xbox One. So I've been spending more time with it so I can like get used to using it more. And there are certain things about it that I just cannot stand. Like, it drives me insane.
Such as?
The interface, first of all, it still feels like a mess. Like, if you go into the store, like you go to the store tab and it like takes you to like, I guess, a quick set of links to different things in the store. You're like, all right, I want to go into the store, and then you have to like go into games, and then it takes you to like a separate like subsection within it. And then if you like click on something or you like download something, it'll, instead of like taking you back to the last thing, it'll like reset you all the way back to like the first part. It's a very disorienting like setup in the way that you navigate throughout the store. Finding things in a store if you just want to browse is really difficult, and like they have some of it put off into sections. Like, with like PlayStation, for example, if you go in and you want to like see what's new on PlayStation Plus, like free games, there's a section dedicated for free games that you can just look at. The Xbox has none of that.
Well, why did they change the user interface from Xbox 360, which is by far the simplest way I've ever seen anything done on a console? Like, I would say, like I'm kind of torn between my PlayStation 4's user interface and my 360's user interface, because, yes, the 360's runs a bit slower, but everything is so simply laid out.
So simple.
And there's depth to it. Okay, I want to go to games. Cool. I want to see arcade games. I want to see indie games. They have their own separate tabs. You don't have to juggle.
Right.
And it's just simple. It's laid out. As I understand it from what I've seen when I was over up there, anybody who's had a Xbox One, how you have a window here. It's like you have like two windows, a weird advertising or something gap, and then the big window. And you want to just, I mean, it's almost made better before the Kinect, so you can actually just reach and grab it, because that would be simpler to
You
grab
just
than
speak.
anything.
That's
to move around.
the argument I've always been making. Is like they made the user interface a pain in the ass, so you had to have a Kinect. To
Yes,
do it.
well, they originally again had planned for everything to run with a Kinect, so they were like, okay, they'll all have it. It won't be a big deal.
Right.
Oh crap! Now we're selling it without it, and nothing is simple anymore. That's I mean, I imagine somebody at Microsoft, when the word came down to, okay, we're not shipping it with the Kinect, we're getting rid of the online connectivity, we're making it to where you can use video games with the day one patch. And some programmer just sat down, like, was so mad at his boss because he just gave him so much more work to do. And just totally, okay, it's like, all right, the console's done. All I got to do is work on little bugs and patches. Wait, you want me to change everything? Okay. And you know that guy's salary base, so he can't not do it.
Right.
And so that means, oh, yeah, here's your deadline. It's in a couple months.
Right.
Enjoy.
Right. That's literally all I had to work with.
I feel bad for those developers at that point.
Bad.
But when, other than that, if you get an Xbox One with a Kinect, it's a grid system. It's good.
The other thing, I'll say a few more gripes about it, and then we'll move on to the next topic, because I don't want to spend too much time on that. The other thing that bothers me is, like, I've tried to use the voice activation for, like, launching Titanfall, for example, and it just was not trying to have it. Just not even wanting to hear it. Like, I was like, Xbox, launch Titanfall.
But yeah, with that accent, of course it's never going to read it.
Like,
you're just sitting there screaming at your phone.
Titanfall!
Screaming at your Kinect. It's the same thing like when you're yelling at Siri.
Yeah.
Like, hey, it's okay. I would want it to play music. I'd be like, okay, Siri, play my Guardians of the Galaxy mix volume 1. Awesome mix. And then it'll be like, calling Nicole Bellows. I'm like, what? It's not what I said at all.
Not even close. And the other thing that drives me insane about it is, I've talked about this in, like, one of my videos, but it doesn't come with rechargeable batteries.
The controller?
Yeah, it's infuriating. It doesn't come with rechargeable batteries.
PlayStation Master Race. Built-in rechargeable battery. It's so simple. It's
so simple. It's like, it's 2013 when the console released. Like, this should not be an issue. The Kinect doesn't come with a TV mount.
Gotta buy it as an accessory.
You gotta buy it as an accessory.
You paid $150 for this thing. Why can't you just throw in a cheap piece of plastic?
You can't use any headset you want with the console. You have to buy an adapter to use a headset with the controller. I think you still have to do it for that too.
Well, they have an adapter for the socket, right? Because they have a proprietary USB connection in the back.
Like on the Xbox One, on the controller, there's a little thing that you have to plug in, and then you have, like, even if your headset's wireless, like, you have to connect a wire into it. The A50s I have will not work unless you are wired to your controller, which takes the point out of having a wireless headset.
Well, I'm actually okay with wires because I didn't want to deal with ever having to, like, a recharge thing constantly, and that's why I bought my Tritons. But
that's fine. Yeah,
it's just the idea that if you're going to push out a console, you want to make sure that the less stuff they have to worry about when they play it, the better. PlayStation was all about that. They're like, okay, if we just won't throw in the camera, it's like $50. It's not a big deal. If they want it, they can get it. And we'll make all the controllers have our built-in battery pack. All you need is a cord you already have at home, which is a USB with a micro USB, which you probably use to charge your smartphone anyway. So if you lose a cord, it's no big deal. You don't have to call us. You can go to Walgreens and buy one for $5, $6. With Microsoft, you got to buy a battery pack, or you have to go get to a third-party accessory for that. It's the system, I believe, was designed. They wanted to make it take over your entire living room because they advertise it as being you can watch TV through it, which you still can do. That's cool. It can take the place of your DVR. It can
kind of, yes.
It kind of can. It self-records its own video games, so where it's not where you have to push on PlayStation the button, to start recording.
Well, actually, you can use voice activation now for that. That was one of their latest patches.
What I'm saying is with the whole Xbox, record that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it'll record like the last 5 or so minutes.
Yep.
Of gameplay, right? And with PlayStation, it only has a temporary memory buff of where it's like 10 or 5 seconds, and you can use that for like bug reports and stuff like that, which is cool. But you have to anticipate you want to film. Like if I want to play a multiplayer match in Destiny and I want to have it recorded, I need to make sure to remember that I push the record thing before the start of the match. If I don't, what's that?
Actually, that's not true.
They changed that?
You can do that. I think in a patch update a while ago, actually, they allowed you to be able to record something from like 10 to 15 minutes ago. So like I think you have to just turn the setting on, but like if you're playing and then you just press the share button, it'll say at the bottom like press square to save video clip. Like the last either 10 or 15 minutes, whatever you set it to, will be recorded. Don't have to worry about it.
I could have recorded those matches where I went like 40-2 in Destiny now, and I'm so sad.
We gotta play that again.
Iron Banner next week starts Tuesday. Be ready.
Yes, we gotta start playing that again.
I'm already on it now. I'm already 31. I hit there real fast.
I'm not.
I'll tell that trick real quick on that when we get to that. But let's keep moving forward. We gotta do.
Yes.
Actually, do you want to talk about Hellblade?
It's up to you. We're at the hour and a half mark. I don't know if you want to talk about Hellblade and then go into the guest topic, or actually let's go to the guest topic. Let's talk about what you want to talk about.
Real quick, the Destiny update, The Dark Below, you have been increased the light level cap to level 32, which, does make it a little sad for those of us who finally got that raid helmet a couple weeks ago and where we hit level 30. However, everything's still going to be effective, so you're fine. It doesn't, it's now where you have to get to level 31. You need all 4 pieces of armor to be at the light level cap, which is opposed to where they would each go to 30, they would go to 33 for their individual light stat. Now, exotics will go to 36, and you can buy stuff at the vendor that goes up to level 33. Wow. So if you have your raid helmet and you go buy an arm and a leg and you keep your exotic chest piece, for example, you can re-upgrade them and you'll hit 31 with just those 3 new pieces of armor. You keep your raid helmet, keep stuff like that. Right. So it's not up in arms over it. And then I believe the hard version of the raid will come in a month or 2. Or no, I think just a month. I don't think it's that far out. And the gear you get from that will let you hit 32. Okay. The real fun thing is Iron Banner starts again Tuesday.
Yes.
So expect to bring your best stuff again. Guns have been upgraded to where the vendors now have like different attack values, to where they'll go from 300 being the cap to now like 323, 334, something like that. While you don't get the option to upgrade your existing legendary gear, all that will take to go, it's rough, but if you want to go get it again, you just got to go get a you can get a Vanguard commendation a Crucible commendation, I think is what all the individual faction gears will take. And you can get that just by upgrading any faction rep or Crucible rep. If you want to upgrade your Vanguard rep, you just go with like a normal, like regular class gear that doesn't apply to one of those. And it'll give you a Vanguard commendation. It'll cost you Crucible marks and a Vanguard commendation now, or a Crucible commendation to get those items. But they end up edging out a little bit more, especially at the higher level, since we're going to beat that new raid. Right. And the attack values on guns, they just let you do more damage to higher opponents that are a higher level than you. That's really the only thing that matters. So the guns you already have that only go up to 300, they're still fine. Let's say you are level 30. The target you're shooting at is level 31. You may have this is just pulling this number out of my butt, but like maybe a 10% damage decrease to what you would normally be doing against somebody of your own level, or like 10 or 20%. Yeah. But it's a little bit, but it's noticeable. So all the new exotic gear, actually, that's the fun thing. All exotic weapons, all of them. When you upgrade using an exotic shard or going by a new one, the basic value starts for attack is 302. So when you fully upgraded your exotic weapon, how it only goes at 300, when you get the new version of it, yes, all of your perks you'll have to re-unlock, but the attack will still be at where you just were. A little bit better, matter of fact. So it's not going to depower the weapon when you go get it.
Okay, all right.
So rest easy, your icebreaker will still be fine.
Yes!
Because, let's face it, the only thing we use it for is regenerating ammo anyway, and every other perk after that. It was really not what we needed it for. Right. So it'll still do just as good damage. You can just, fresh, new, out of the box, take it out, play with it.
I like it.
Only other thing that I have on Destiny is that there have been some criticisms as how the story is portrayed at it, that there's no cutscenes.
Right.
What is done is instead of taking you out, the only story you're getting would be just the little dialogue that would play before and at the end of your mission.
Mm-hmm.
How it is now, they wrote it to where when you go to the vendor to progress your portion of the story, she actually converses with you. You see her character model in the store vendor where she's talking. Her lips are animated and they're moving. It's like she's just talking directly to you about your next mission and about how this mission just ended.
Right.
So it's more personal now.
Okay. All right.
It's pretty ingenious because they didn't have to throw in any cutscenes to do this.
Okay.
There's no Peter Dinklage talking in this thing, so your little light bulb doesn't talk to you much during these quests. But it's really just all Eris Morn.
Okay.
And her character talking to you. The remixed levels start you out and take you to a lot of very similar locales that you've already been to, but they play them in a different progression. Like, let's say, I think the first story mission for it starts you out where the Fallen Walker is on the first strike.
Okay, yeah.
But you go backwards through that area of the level. So it's a little disorienting at first. You're like, wait, I'm not used to looking at it beginning from this angle. So it takes advantage of the existing space they already have, and it makes good use of it. It's honestly, it's been worth my money. I'm enjoying it. I haven't played the multiplayer maps yet, but I'm assuming I will next week a little bit in Iron Banner. I don't think they're. I'm not sure if they're going to be included in the map rotation for that. There's also a level 26 strike playlist as opposed to level 24.
Okay.
So you can get the new strikes, which have been designed in a way to where there's several different, like, you know how a lot of people would try to cheese and go back through a door and shoot these one guys, and maybe one guy would pop up and like try to push them forward. But usually, like, especially the Nexus strike, I don't know if you've seen that, where the guys will stay up on the top platform.
Yes.
And they'll just kill the one Praetorium as he shows up.
Right.
A lot of the rooms in this strike now are arena-based. So when you walk in there, every member of your party has to be in, and then the exits are blocked off. So you are stuck in this pen. That goes with the Mars strike and the Earth strike. So it's making it harder to cheese.
Right.
Which is good. But after playing through them on myself, like with myself, it's not hard.
Okay.
If you've been playing this game and you're not lazy, you'll be fine.
So would you say, in terms of because I also got the special edition of Destiny, so like I already have the DLC, I just have to download it to my system. Would you say for people who have Destiny, it's worth the money? They should go for it?
Well, if this is what they're adding with the expansion pass, this first part of it, I'm going to say yes and yes, because you're getting. It's not going to fill in the story that everyone's expecting it to. Oh, I don't want to pay money to get like the story I should have gotten in the first place. That's never going to happen. What's going to happen is it's going to tell you new stories. It's fun. The guns that I've already unlocked, for example, the Murmur that you will get during the story missions from Eris, is a fusion rifle that you can switch from slower damage to arc damage.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it can take the place of two fusion rifles if you have those in your inventory. I personally use fusion rifles usually on nightfall strikes for those particular burns. It's very useful for when you want to switch your damage type and you don't want to lose like half your ammo, because you know how sometimes that's still there for when you. I don't know if they're ever going to patch that or not, but it's a nice way to play it because the rifle actually changes its performance too when you're on. Solar damage, it takes a little longer to charge up. It has a little better range, I think.
Interesting.
And it does a little bit more damage. But when you switch it to arc, it fires a little faster. It's got a little less range, but the impact also goes down a little bit to balance it out. So it's a nice dynamic tool now that you can have in your inventory. So it's definitely worth it, and that's just the one I've gotten.
Right.
There is this new rocket launcher that's got like this massive shark face on it that when it detonates, it leaves that solar burn that Warlock grenades like to leave, just that area of effect damage after the impact.
That's cool.
So that's great for stationary targets, like Valis Ta'arak on Mars, for instance. That big, ugly turtle-looking dude that likes to sit around, shoot missiles at you all day. You can fire that at him; it'll do persistent damage.
That's pretty cool.
It would be great even in multiplayer for area access denial. Like if you want to. Let's say you've got three guys that you know are chasing you. You got one rocket. You want to try to get out of there. Fire it in the door. You may kill one of them, but that solar burn will still be there. So if anybody tries to chase after you through it, It's going to chip at damage, and you can kill them a little bit faster. So it remains to be seen if it will take the place of Galahorn, but I don't know if it will.
Galahorn? Is it an exotic weapon, or is it a legendary?
It is an exotic.
That would be interesting, because a lot of people love them some Galahorn.
Listen, I've had Galahorn since the second week because it was on sale, and I was a big fan of Borderlands. I liked how, exploding, seeking MRVs sounded to me, and I have not been disappointed with that weapon since.
That's pretty boss.
But, I mean, the whole idea of area of effect damage afterwards will potentially, on stationary target, probably let it do about the same damage. And on a solar burn, Nightfall Strike, that'll probably save your life. Especially if you're getting chased out by a bunch of Thrall. Because remember, if you've seen how their AI is designed, they don't like to walk into area of effect damage things. So you can get yourself a little breather. And judging from the 2 strikes I played at already, especially with the new Dark Below, they added, for the Nightfall Strike this week, there are so many Thrall that just drum at you. It's insane the amount of enemies that get thrown at you. I played it with 3 people. I was playing with 2 of my friends. They were kind enough to jump on. They were level 29s, and I was a 30 at the time. We were playing the Nightfall Strike. I had 164 kills, and they each had 80 as well.
Damn.
Both of them. So that's a ton of enemies getting thrown at you all at once.
Yeah, right?
It's stressful, but I like it.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, if you're using the Nightfall Strike this week, and you have Fatebringer, it's Arc Burn. So remember those little explosions that Fatebringer likes to make on impact on a kill? Those are all going to be arc damage explosions. So if you have a group of Thrall jumping at you, just get a headshot in there. It's going to save your life. I guarantee it. You're going to love it.
It's pretty boss. I need to start playing that game again.
Hey, next week we could stream Iron Banner. I'm down.
That's true. That's very true. I was supposed to be streaming today, but I don't know if I'm going to get around to it because I have to see my mom today to give her these phones I got for her house.
How's she doing?
She's doing well. She's at the point where she's kind of speaking right now, and it's pretty
good.
Pretty cool. For you guys at home on iTunes and YouTube, I tried not to be too dramatic and tell everyone about it, but my mom recently had a stroke around the beginning of November, and she's okay right now. She's been kind of in that recovery process, but her physically she's fine. She's totally fine, but it's just her speech that was mostly affected by the stroke. So she's been having a really hard time communicating before. She's been steadily improving, and the speech therapy, whenever I go over, I help her with that. So that's been a great experience to kind of be able to be there for her to help her with that.
She's progressing well, I hope.
Yeah. The speech therapist is really impressed with how fast she's coming along right now. And so she's at the point where she's saying sentences. She's not fully saying all the words fully yet, but
but you're getting enough to get by.
Right. And she knows if she's saying something wrong, she'll try it again. So the cognitive ability to recognize speaking to her, she understands everything clearly, which is great.
Her ability to process information hasn't changed, so that's good. I mean, especially worst case scenario, if you do get stuck and she can't communicate everything, she'll probably just text it to you.
Right.
Put it on a phone.
Right.
But that's a good sign. That means she's on a good road to recovery, especially if she's recovering that fast already in just a few short months.
Right. I think it's been actually a month.
Just a month?
It's been a month. It's been a month and a week and a half or something like that. So I have full confidence that she'll be okay, but we'll need to be careful just so that doesn't kind of happen again. Yeah, but apparently, we were at the hospital once. They asked her what size she wore, for shirts. I was like, oh, she's probably a small. She looked at me. She was like, I was like, what? She was like, I was like, medium. She was like, I was like, oh, mom, you gained some weight. So that might have had something to do with her having the stroke at that point. She did gain some weight since the last time, before she went to Barbados or whatever, for her birthday.
You can blame that on the food. Food's good.
Food's good. And I'm wondering if we should save this for the next podcast, because there are technically 2 things that are still in there. It's the Nintendo thing and also the Hellblade thing.
Ooh, we could do the Nintendo thing real quick.
Okay, we'll save the Helmet Sword thing for another day.
That's short.
Yeah. So, I don't know if you guys at home have heard the news, about Sony and Nintendo in talks of making an animated Mario movie.
The Super Mario Brothers Super Show 2. I'm excited.
And I'm not sure what they mean by animated. If they mean like cartoon animated or if they mean like 3D animated.
Well, I guess we'll have to see. I mean, I think with the recent success that Sega's discovering they're having with trying to make Sonic Boom a thing now, where, well, hey, look at it. It's aimed for kids.
Well, the game didn't do very well. But
the game didn't do well, but the TV show is doing pretty good.
Okay.
Like, they're getting decent ratings on it.
Okay.
Decent enough to keep it on the air.
That's awesome.
And the writing is sharp. It's quick. It's witted. That's fun. That's good for them. It's like, honestly, they'll do really simple slapstick stuff too. Like, it's not a bad watch for them. And I think that
I'll check it out because I was really interested in that game until people were talking about like the actual gameplay itself, and you're just like,
it's just funny for me watching, like, when I was watching like trailers and stuff for it, that it's Chris Redfield is the guy who does Chris Redfield voice is Sonic the Hedgehog. And you can kind of hear little bits of it there. You're like, okay, and that's good because I mean this is the same guy. He does like Captain America's voice on the Avengers TV show that's on right now.
Okay.
So he's getting good work, and he's a very talented voice actor. So I don't see them, as long as the writing stays sharp and witty, that going anywhere. Now, as for the game, yeah, that sucked. But let's face it. Sonic, since they don't want to make us a Sonic game that we want, we're just kind of like whatever at this point. At least they didn't make more hedgehogs, thank God.
Yeah, they needed to kind of calm down with all that.
Yeah,
Sonic Adventures 1 was fucking awesome on a Dreamcast.
It was, but yeah, don't know what's going on. But anyway, Sony, Nintendo, definitely in talks. That's another one of the things we've gotten out of the leaks for the new recent string of things.
Yeah, oh, by the way, people at home, change your passwords on your Microsoft account and your PlayStation account. Mainly I heard the Microsoft account, but I think the PlayStation might have been hacked in some way as well, since Sony overall got hacked.
I think I read something. It wasn't as many. It wasn't really a PSN hack as much this time as last time. It was more of their internal documents that got taken out. Like, there's emails I've seen where the whole Marvel trying to get Spider-Man back thing recently came up because it's just all coming out of those emails that they've been finding. They wanted to do a 60-40 split revenue where I think Marvel takes 60, Sony takes 40, and then they wanted to regain Marvel wanted to regain creative freedom. Right. And unfortunately, if that goes through, if that means Andrew Garfield will no longer be Spider-Man, which is sad because, honestly, I think that he's done a fantastic job portraying that character.
I saw the first Amazing Spider-Man. I didn't see the second one, but the first one was good.
The second one, the story is kind of like, but he does such a good job because I read interviews with this guy. This is all he's wanted to do since he was a little kid. That's awesome. Like, when he got the job, like, he admitted he cried about it because it was all he wanted to do. Like there were kids that would make fun of him apparently that when he would wear the costume for Halloween. Yeah. Actually, I think for the first movie, he went to a convention or something like that, and he wore like a crappy Spider-Man costume, and he was in the crowd, and he just kind of took it off, and he was like, "I'm just so happy I get to do this." Yeah. It's that's kind of good stuff. I hope sincerely that they would keep him, just because it's such a recent thing. Right. But. Yeah, it's a possibility. I mean, he did such a good job with it, and he doesn't look at all like Tobey Maguire did, like in the last one, where he was already pushing like 30 or something. He looked it at the end of the third movie, but it's there's so much stuff coming out from those emails that Sony lost, had hacked. But now, how do we feel about a Mario animated movie? I think that
we're getting a Ratchet and Clank one.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
it's really awesome.
Yeah,
but when you look at it, Mario traditionally, as a selling point for a movie, he's not super funny. No, he's not super witty. No, he's as
pretty much
a
doesn't
character
say anything.
Well, no, it's not that he says yeah and wahoo a lot. Oh, yeah. But. I wouldn't. I'm not sure because we haven't seen too much like as sort of like dramatic presentation of Mario, other than the Uwe Boll movie that was just an abomination.
Anything that man makes is an abomination. I think we just need to put that out there in the light.
But it's I think that it would be interesting to see because this is Nintendo's child. Mm-hmm. They have specific. I've read specific articles that were very specific. They would never do another Mario movie again, ever, because of how that went. And if they're talking about it now, they have to have some sort of grand thing in mind to where it could be something entertaining. Right. And this would have to be aimed for kids mostly. Mm-hmm. It would to sell well. Most of these animated movies need to have some sort of humor in it. So
yeah, that's going to be kind of. They could probably bring the humor through like Toad or something. Or
I was just thinking Toad. Like I mean, I remember all of his just like screams of agony whenever he would die in Mario Kart. It's like what? Just you would feel so good about it. But I mean, there's even a thing where you could have Yoshi eating things, or Luigi, if anything, has had more character development. I mean, just remembering from
the Death Stare,
Luigi's Mansion, and the Death Stare. Yes, and the Death Stare. I saw a video or a GIF, I think, where he was at there was this guy dressed up as douchebag Luigi, and he was in a cart. He'd be throwing turtle shells at the people while they're cosplaying him in the nuts, and he'd just be like scooting by and be like, "What are you gonna do?"
That's amazing.
But I mean, I haven't personally like if you look at the old. Let's face it. If we want to look at Mario's character, in a storytelling fashion, where he has dialogue, like a hefty amount of dialogue, the only thing we really have to draw on is the Super Mario Brothers Super Show.
Right.
That's it. But with an animated movie, I think that maybe a Wreck-It Ralph approach would be good. To where you have him jumping across maybe very different Nintendo IPs.
That would be really cool. That would be very cool.
Donkey Kong, be a great addition.
Donkey Kong, definitely. Bayonetta, just saying.
I don't know if they can get away with that in a kid's movie.
I know.
Well, I really don't.
I know.
Maybe they could have her like conservatively dressed in some scene where she's wearing like a suit or something.
Yeah. Or the outfit that she was in the first one. She was all fully dressed in that.
Well, I mean, if it's a Mario movie.
Imagine just like this giant, tall woman and like little Mario.
Well, I mean, you look at it, Peach has already still got a height clearance on Mario as it is.
She does. But she's also tiny.
They're all tiny.
Yeah.
I mean, they fit through storage pipes. I mean, come on.
I hope that they don't try to do anything too crazy because, as we know, Sony's bread and butter at this point is PlayStation.
Yeah.
The other movies that they make, they own James Bond right now, right?
I think they do, but if you're looking at it from Nintendo's standpoint, they have a history of talking to Sony about things. I mean, the Nintendo console, the PlayStation, the disc drive whole idea was supposed to be for a Nintendo product originally.
Right.
But if you're looking at it with Sony, that they would want to tap, they have a decent enough rapport, I understand. There's not a whole lot of hostility between the two companies from what I hear.
Right.
So if they want to, Nintendo wants to produce it on its own and then have Sony distribute it, that's probably what they're going for here. I wouldn't imagine, if you look at it with like the the Raving Rabbids TV show, for instance. It's actually pretty funny.
Okay.
It's just like all those little short trailers. I would watch that with my sister. It's just them being stupid and doing stupid things, and it's entertaining. But yeah, I would likely expect that Nintendo would, in some fashion, produce this and then have Sony distribute it. I don't think they would really be comfortable letting their flagship character be in the hands of another company creatively wise.
Right.
So,
that's true.
That's likely what we're going to see. This would be like the first of maybe, hopefully, many Nintendo productions that would come out. I mean, heck, if that goes well, maybe we get ourselves a nice little Metroid movie.
That would be cool.
Because I've seen so many different little fan film attempts at this.
Yeah.
And what would be good. Definitely, you have a strong female lead. You have an action-oriented title that could be good for a movie.
Aliens.
Yeah, I mean even that. Yeah, you've got your basic sci-fi staples you need to make a good sci-fi action flick. You got strong female lead character. You've got energy weapons. You've got aliens. Space pirates are gonna look so freaking weird. It's like, oh god, and I'm thinking of Ridley now, and I don't want to dive down that hole any deeper. I'm not. We'll see. I think that definitely Mario would be a good idea for kids for different sets of movies, like even the Toads, for instance, like like all these little guys that could make their own, like a Captain Toad movie, for instance. It'd be great for little kids. It'd be awesome.
Right.
Easy rated G money.
Yeah, I mean that's printing money right there. That's I'm sure Nintendo has a lot of money because of their 3DS and stuff, but they could probably.
Well, they don't have that much because Wii U is kind of draining a bit of their money. I mean, anytime they'd be reached out for comment, they'd be like, "We're doing fine. Why do you ask?"
Is there anything else you'd like to add to the podcast before we bring it to a close?
I got nothing. I think we're good.
Nothing. Thank you very much, Serious Sam.
I'm happy to be here. I mean, my other guests that aren't here clearly are also happy to be here.
So happy. It was we had
a good
originally
edition of the
slated
Ebony
to
Navy
have
podcast.
Trinity Mark Blue and Itioru here, or I guess they would have been below. They were originally slated to be here. One of them still in college, so he had to finish some work that he thought he was going to have done yesterday, and then one got called in last minute to go to work this morning. So he was like, "This really sucks. I really wanted to come on, but I can't because my boss has called me." So thank you guys at home for tuning in to this exciting episode of the Black Oni Podcast. This was episode 37. Getting up there.
I would have little balloons and confetti, but I didn't. There we go.
And as always, I'll catch you guys later. Game on. J-Blaze out. And if you want to play with us, our screen names are right there. You can send us a friend request. And make sure you let us know that you watch the podcast.
Leave a message. Don't be a creeper.
Don't be, because
I'm gonna get looking at my PlayStation thing, and I'm gonna be like, I don't know who this is. Like, leave them. Hey, saw you on the podcast. You were cool. Let's play a game. Let's play Iron Banner.
Hi, you're real
Awesome.
pretty. I like your hair. Can I pet you?
No, you may not.
Delete.
Friend requested that.